Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awaken Happiness Now Global Series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. If you're new to me, new to my show, new to my channel, if you're watching on YouTube, please do subscribe so that you can take advantage of all of the current shows, all the shows coming up in the future, and all the previous shows. There's so much wisdom here for you, wisdom, healing processes, etc. It is my deepest wish, desire, and intention to bring these wonderful speakers here so that they can share their wisdom, their teachings, their experiences, their processes, their healings, their mini readings, etc., so that we can all thrive in our lives, so that we can all awaken to happiness within. And so today, we have a new speaker on the show today. So Keren Brown is here with us for the first time, and we're going to be talking about awakening your divine feminine power as the wise woman at midlife. And I have to say, a lot of our listeners, a lot of our community is around that midlife, the stage. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting topic for sure. And so, some of what we're going to discuss today is what is the multidimensional meaning of midlife menopause, and how can you work with the natural changes occurring in your body and psyche to harness your true power? What can goddess mythology and archetypes teach us about healing, wholeness, and our true nature? How can you work with the lunar cycle and other feminine mysteries to accelerate your ascension, receive more of your gifts, and discover your truest purpose? And so we're also going to be receiving a WiseWoman Activation today live on the show to amplify access to your deepest inner wisdom. So I'm excited about that as well. And so, of course, if you don't know Keren, I mean, some of you may, but like I said, she is new to our show, first time here. So Keren is based in Toronto, so she's not too far from me. I was downtown yesterday, but she's I can take a train ride downtown. Keren is an intuitive guide and a wayshower, an embodiment and movement facilitator, and founder of Wise Women Leading. It's supporting women through personal and career transitions, initiations, and other mysteries of the second half of life, the feminine wisdom way. And drawing on more than 25 years experience working with clients as a public relations and marketing communications consultant. She also loves to help women uncover their soul essence and how to express it through all aspects of their life and work. She was the host of the Awaken Midlife online interview series and currently co-hosts the online retreat series Exploring the Unseen, Answering the Divine Feminine Call. Keren's mission is to help women reclaim joy, vitality, and meaning and fully activate their leadership and power during the most transformative time of their life and in the world. Through remembering who they truly are, the archetypal, whatever, the wise woman. And her areas of interest and exploration include working with the goddess archetypes, descent and initiation, the ancient mystery traditions, and Mary Magdalene. So let's give Keren a warm welcome to the show. Like I said, it's her first time here, so please join me in welcoming her with a big warm hug and big warm welcome. So Keren, welcome to the show. So glad you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. And hello to everyone. Jazz hands. That's how we do a round of applause in this way.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah,
Yes.
lovely
Well,
to be here.
welcome. So, this, I have to say that, this is the first time you're on the show. So I'm going to ask you to take a few minutes and tell us a little bit about your journey. But I have to tell you, this is a topic that I don't think we've ever covered on the show. I mean,
Great.
I'm looking back
Awesome.
at like 11 years. I'm like, I don't think we've ever really talked about this topic. So I'm excited, and I think most of our listeners and most of the community is in this phase and stage of life, so it'll be quite relevant for them, I'm sure. So yes, of course. Can you just share a little bit about your journey? Because I know it has been you've done a lot, you've experienced a lot, right? So it'll be
True.
interesting to hear
Yeah.
your journey as well.
Great. Well, first I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see you and everybody else a little bit better. So I feel
I'm
like
going to
I'm
take mine off
going to
because I don't
start
need to
squinting.
anymore.
Yeah, I put mine on, you take yours off. So yeah, thank you. So by way of introduction, so yes, a lot of this journey for me, I've always been interested in um, the spiritual truth of things, always, for as long as, all the way back to my childhood. And it's not until I feel, and it can start a little earlier, but it's not until around the second half of life that you can look back and connect dots and see the bigger picture of the soul's path. And in doing that, probably in my 30s, I started to kind of seek a little deeper. And I realized that I had lived the story of Persephone, which is one of the goddess archetypes, in her journey into the underworld, her abduction, but not abduction, the divine feminine version. If you know the story, the patriarchal version is that Hades, the lord of the underworld, came up and the ground opened and he abducted and raped, the victim, Persephone. But the divine feminine version of the story is that she chose to go down into this place. And it's a metaphor for the psyche, the underworld, right? So she chose to go down to have an initiation and to understand all the parts of herself, including the dark part that she wasn't aware of, to explore sexuality and womanhood and all of that. And so she starts out as the virgin or the maiden who has that kind of that innocence, but also the exuberance and the energy and so on. She goes down, she has to strip away a lot of what she thought she was, but she emerges not only as a wise woman in some senses. She's still young. So it's not necessarily about a biological age, although I find it can be, but she's also brought with her, right, the wise woman gifts, and she becomes the queen of the underworld as well. She has to keep going back down each year, and that explains the seasons, because her mother, Demeter or Demeter, has, in her grief that she's been separated from her daughter, she's made the land barren. And once she negotiates the return from the goddess Hecate, who is another beautiful wise woman archetype, or crone, which is another way of saying perhaps wise woman, although that tends to be more age, has a connotation of age. She's the one who negotiates and lights the way, and she can walk between worlds, but so can Persephone at the end. And so I'm saying all this just to frame a little bit. I mean, I realize that this was my journey, and we all have at all ages and stages moments of or times of initiation and descent into the underworld. And though we don't necessarily want it, it doesn't sound like a fun thing to do, and we may not volunteer for it. Every time we do this, and it can be illness, many things that happen in the second half of life, losses, empty nesting, the loss of a spouse, due to divorce or death, the loss of a parent that you've been caregiving. All kinds of things can trigger this initiation, particularly in the second half of life. But we come back with more and more of our gifts. And as we do that, we're moving into that next level of ascension as well. So I'm not sure if I answered your question about my journey. Kind of did, but then I've also set us up for a little bit, I think, of what we're going to be talking about today.
Absolutely. And I love how you shared the divine feminine way, or the divine feminine journey of Persephone. It's so much more empowering than
Yes.
the regular patriarchal version, right? So
Yeah.
I think we've all at some point in our lives have also experienced that descent into the underworld, going like that, for me, I call that the dark night of the soul, right?
Yes.
So we've all
Yes.
had those moments. I'm gonna not say moments, because sometimes it can feel like a long time, right?
Yes.
But those phases when we are experiencing that dark night of the soul, and we're getting to know who we truly are.
Yes.
Sometimes it's about our triggers, sometimes it's about our gifts, but we get to know who we are by going deep within as well at the same
Yes.
time, right? So the dark night of the soul is not really dark. It is about going within and
Yes.
learning about who we are. That's what
Yes.
I think, anyways, right?
Yep, absolutely. It's about meeting all the parts of ourselves, including the ones that we have, for whatever reason, separated from ourselves because maybe we don't think it's a good part or a part of the
Yeah,
light. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. But everything is a part of the light, whether
Yes.
it's dark in the shadow, but even the shadow is just less light.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
that's how I like to look at it. It's not bad, it's not dark, it's not, it's just less light there because we haven't shone the light there very
That's
often.
right.
So
Yes.
once we do, things change. So no, thank you for that. And so yeah, so I'm excited about this conversation because uh we are going through a very a transitional and at the same time transformational time right now, right, for
Yes.
a lot of people.
Yes.
It's not always like a dark night of the soul, but there's major transformation happening in our lives, major transitions.
Yes.
We are looking more deeply at what is going on in our lives, who we are, what we're doing at this time, what do we want to do? Like, we're, like stuff
Yes.
is happening, right? And
Yes.
so part of that is recognizing at the same time as stuff is happening, how much power we have for
Yes.
ourselves, right? How much wisdom
Yes.
we have, how much power we have, our own divine feminine power, allowing that to lead us a little bit, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I would say actually that we are in a collective, maybe it's a dark night of the soul, it's certainly an initiation and it has been in different ways. Um, and I think, I'm trusting that we will emerge in the same way, with all of our power and an understanding of the power that we have inside of us, and our ability, particularly, and this is the cool synergy for me, is a woman in the second half of her life at this particular time, I think, is the most powerful
Mhm.
human right now. And now, I could be wrong for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is my idea. I feel that we can work with other generations 100%. I have a daughter who's 19, so she's in the Gen Z, and I think they're actually really incredibly aware. Even though they're not quite sure what they're aware of, they came in remembering more than we did, I feel.
Mhm.
So we can work together, and we need all of our energies. We need, the virgin energy, the mother energy, and the crone energy. And I would say that the wise woman is the synchronicity of all those three things. As we age, we don't lose those energies. We continue to work with them and we cycle with them. And that's another topic we'll probably be
Mhm.
talking about very shortly. But we actually cycle with this continuation. It's not linear. We've been told, and in our 3D world, time is linear. We're born, we age, and then we die, and that's it. But in fact, we cycle around, birth, death, rebirth, every lunar cycle, every menstrual cycle, if we're still menstruating. So, and I know we're going to chat about that in more detail
Absolutely.
shortly. Yeah.
And I just want to ask everyone who's here right now, just type in the chat. Do you feel like you're going through a transitional, transformational time right now? I know most of you are going to say yes, because there's just so much coming up for us. But because it's just interesting to see, and I'm not talking about the collective, I'm just talking about you personally, right? So you personally, are you going through a transitional, transformational time, right? Because it's interesting to see where we are in the cycle. And as you were talking about cycles, also, Keren, it's also about, because I just had the conversation yesterday with my daughter, she reminded me of a cycle that it seems like I may be repeating from long time ago, but it's like, oh, it's interesting how this cycle is coming back. It's like this is a cyclical pattern, but it's been like a long time ago. So it's like, what is the message here? And like
Mhm.
what are we, and are we the same as we were before? No, absolutely not, right?
Yes.
So even though it might be a cyclical pattern, you're not the same. And so I mean, I'm no longer the virgin. I'm definitely the wise woman, not the crone yet, right? But in between, right?
Yeah.
So it is that looking at where you are in your cycle of the wise woman and the divine feminine archetypes, and how you can learn from that, even, right? Get awareness from that. Lots of people are definitely saying that, yes, they're all going through some sort of transformational period right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I totally agree. I
Yeah.
am too.
Yeah.
As
And
you
it's
all know, I am too.
100%, it's 100% accelerating right now, right? Don't you have that feeling that time
Oh
is speeding
yes.
up? And I don't believe that that's just a function of age. I know there's that quote, life is like toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes.
I don't think that's it, but
Yeah, so there may be something to that, but also like in my daughter, she said, time is going so fast. Why? What's happening? Right. So there
mm,
is, I think there's a speeding up. There's a quantum physics explanation, which I don't know, but
yeah,
um and so because of that too, like we're just feeling all the change, I think it's heightened a little bit. And you're totally right. We never come back to the same place where we started. There may be patterns that keep showing up for healing. But if we're aware already, we know that we're not coming back to them as the same version of ourselves that we
yeah,
were. So I like to think of it like, so if it's cyclical and cyclical, but it's like a spiral, it spirals up,
absolutely. Yeah,
you know, um,
yeah,
regardless of whether we're in a sort of a descent, we're still ultimately spiraling up. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And that's what we have to remind ourselves of, that even if we are recognizing a cyclical pattern, we are not the same as we were the previous time we were in that pattern, in that
Yes.
cycle, right? So we
Yes.
are coming from a different place. And so, that's good. That's good to be aware of. So,
Yes.
so let's talk about, I mean, like I said, this is a topic we have not ever had on the show in 11 years. So, so let's
Lots to
talk about
say.
the, I know, right? So let's talk about the multidimensional meaning of midlife or menopause, and how we can work with that, with the natural changes that are occurring in our body and our psyche. And some of us, we've already gone through the menopause, right? And
Mhm.
I think I was gonna say, I think I came through it unscathed, but that may not be true. And then how can we harness this divine feminine power even more so now, so that we can make this next part of our lives even more,
Mm.
I'm gonna say, magnificent than before.
Yes. Okay. You might have to remind me of all the bits and pieces of that
I know
question, but
my questions are always so long and convoluted. It's like, oh my God, why can't I just ask a simple
that's
question?
okay. Well, the first part, I think I remember. So what was it I wanted to, I had all these ideas, and then as we moved through the question, I'm like, they went. That might be a menopause moment I'm having as I'm not remembering. Oh yes, you were talking about coming out of it. And yes, so I wanted just to make a quick point is, so from a physical perspective, and I've heard something really interesting recently on one of the summits that I was co-hosting. Someone suggested, Prune Harris, who does amazing energy work, she suggested that in fact, the very first inkling of the change, as it used to be called, is around age 36. So before
Hmm,
anything physical happens, there's just a little something in the psyche starting to stir, and she can see it in energetic patterns. I thought that was really interesting because I've never heard that. And then at 42, there is this Uranus opposition. Now, I'm not an astrologer. I could get this totally wrong. But something usually happens there. There can be an initiation of some sort, or an awakening, some kind of experience that happens. Um, and then the physical things start to happen around age 47. That's according to one of my other teachers, Christine Page, who's a medical doctor. She says 47, and it goes for about 12 years. So that puts you into 60. And I'm just
yeah,
a couple years shy of that. And my last period was 51. So I've already, 7 years have gone by, but I still feel some of the physical things, the hot flash from time to time. And um, that's something really interesting to talk about. And some people talk about having them into their 60s. So it's really, it's not specific. What anything we're talking about here is not specific to menopause. It's such a journey, right? It's such a
yeah,
journey. So that was the first thing. I just wanted to say that.
So I just wanted just to
Yeah.
everyone just to tap in, like, do you remember around 36? Do you remember around 42? Do you remember around 47? Because I know for myself, I don't remember around 36, but I definitely remember around 42 and 47 what was happening in my life. Major changes. That is
Yeah.
for sure. Right? Major changes happening at that time. So I was like, oh yes, I can
Yes.
definitely I can definitely relate.
Yes. Yeah. And so, of course, we all know this. The patriarchal story is, well, it's, you're going to the underworld on a handcart and just put it that way. And you are not, as relevant and you're starting to become invisible. And people still say that and feel that way. And that's what we have to change. I feel that that's what we're moving towards, changing that. And there are so many discussions now about um, this, so it's coming out into the light from the dark. However, I have noticed that there's some great conversations, don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of conversations I've seen, like on Facebook, that are about, oh, it's very much focused on the physical and the medicalization of it. Oh, this was terrible. Oh my God, I gained so much weight. And yes, these are real things that can happen due to, imbalances. However, and this is where I guess the first part of the question you asked me about multidimensional menopause. So for me, that term, it just kind of popped in fairly recently. I've always been interested in holistic health. And so I always looked at, mind, body, soul, spirit, the physical environment, what's going on, in your life, all of that comes into play, what's going on with your work life and all the aspects of your life. But multidimensional menopause for me is that deeper spiritual journey that brings all of that, the whole picture, but it adds that mystical element, that piece of we're in an ascension process, but in order to ascend, we also need to descend into this alchemical vessel, which is our body. And so beating up on ourselves about weight gain and hot flashes and all that actually probably begets more of that on a physical level, because you raise your cortisol and your adrenals and all of that. So that's the physical stuff. But more than that, it takes you out of empowerment. And so we need to get back into our bodies and actually connect in to the earth in order to ascend. We think of stuff up here, but again, isn't that a little bit patriarchal thinking, right? The man in the sky up here. There's nothing wrong with getting source light. That's all wonderful, and the masculine energy and bringing that down, but it's all about that alchemy that happens as below, so above, as above, so below. We need to get everything kind of talking to each other through this vehicle. Stay in this body, feel the stuff, even the uncomfortable hot flashes, and let's start to shift the perspective a little bit into what's actually happening when I'm having these hot flashes. And I know there's a euphemism, power surges. Um, and I love that, because that is what it is. But there's heat rise. There's all kinds of different people talking about the different explanations of what's actually going on in the body. Um, for me, one of the teachers that I had a while back, her name's Kathy Skipper, and she talks about the alchemy of menopause. And she suggests that, and there's a bunch of things that we can do. And maybe we'll just talk about this for a minute. I know not everybody is experiencing hot flashes, but I think it's just something generally to be helpful to come into awareness of this body. When you're feeling anything, but let's say it's a hot flash, just notice, see if you can begin to notice the thought you are having right beforehand. Now, sometimes it's because you've got the hair dryer on, or, something very, very physical, or you're in 40-degree heat. But sometimes it can be, and I've traced for myself, and I think it's different for everybody, that it was like a moment of judgment or shame, like, oh no, I forgot to do such and such. And it's not the fact that I forgot, it's the way I'm judging myself for having forgotten. And then I go into there's a little adrenal something kicks in, and then this happens. And so that's an invitation to what I call stop, drop, and root. So if you can, stop what you're doing, breathe, and let everything go down. You can disperse the energies this way. You can put your arms out like this, but the most important thing is to get into your feet and root, send roots down into the earth and connect with the Great Mother. Nothing more calming than that. And I'm sure you've had many guests talking about, how wonderful earthing is and being in nature and all of that. Yeah, so when I say metaphysical menopause, I mean looking at everything that's coming up for healing, whether it's just showing up in your day or it's showing up in a power surge, and working with it, looking at it, because if we don't look at it, we're not bringing it into the light. So how can we become enlightened if we're carrying and dragging all this baggage with us? And at the wise woman stage, we know enough. We are, moving through this kind of more enhanced state of awareness to be able, if we know what we're looking for and how, we can actually work throughout each lunar cycle. There's a time to do the different pieces, which I work with. Bless you. Where we can gather the pieces and look at what we're going to integrate into us, the parts of ourselves that we're meeting along the way through triggers, through different things. And then what we can release. And we can actually do a ceremony at the dark moon to release that, so we can enlighten ourselves. And then we begin again with the new, fresh energies, and we have made space to bring in new seeds of inspiration, even though we're not, in the market for birthing children after menopause. We're always birthing, and we may not have ever had children, but we're always, every cycle, we're bringing in new creative seeds of inspiration, actually from Mother Earth.
I love that. And there's just so many wonderful things you just said here. The stop, drop, and root is so important. And this is kind of like a variation on something that I share with my clients as well. But it really truly is like, when you are triggered, or when you have the hot flash, the right before what we're thinking, is to be aware of that. Because if you're not in awareness of it, you can't change it, right? So it is to be aware of it, being present, grounding, rooting, etc., and being in the body, because the body is the vehicle for our soul to ascend, right?
Yes,
And
exactly.
we cannot do it without the body, but the body needs to also be healthy and all that wonderful stuff. But as we are receiving more light codes, more energies, more frequencies, etc., we need to anchor them in the body and into the earth, so
Yes,
that we can actually use them. Because otherwise, if they're just up here, they're of no use to us, right?
exactly.
And these energies, the support, I call it, is here for us to use, so that we can again create our lives the way that we desire, right? And so the birthing every month, like you're talking about, I truly look at it as birthing every day, every day that
Yes,
we're wake up. I was gonna say born, but every day that we wake up,
yes,
we are reborn, right?
yes,
So we have that opportunity to create with our lives. And so important. I love that. Thank you. And it's not just about the physical, but it is about the emotional and the mental as well. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Right?
yes,
When you're getting triggered, are you judging yourself? We all do.
Yeah.
We all judge ourselves, right? But if you can be
Yes.
aware of those times when you're judging yourself, then you have a better chance of not judging yourself in the future for those same things, right? That's how
Yeah,
I look at it.
exactly. Exactly. And I think very specifically, and I have heard this from others that work in the spiritual aspects of menopause, that the things very specifically, and you were speaking to this earlier, that cycle back around for you to be looked at, often they're things that were initiated, and we kind of know this anyway, they were initiated at or a little bit before puberty. So those things we kind of came into our cycles with and into our first blush of womanhood are the things that we are now being asked to look at. So,
And
and that's an interesting one. You can do a little contemplation, people who are watching this, just to say, oh, is there anything that, I was dealing with then that's come up it might look a little different, but the
yeah,
themes may very well be there. Now we know about inner child work and, all of that. That's all part and parcel of it. And that could be the initial root of something could be going further back, but you may see those themes and they may be specific to those early teen or before years
yeah.
as well. It's really
And
interesting.
contemplation is great, but don't stay stuck in the story and don't go into
Yes.
judgment.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's the beauty of the work that I do, and maybe this is the time. I'm not sure if we're about to segue into that, but the lunar cycle work that I do, as I started to talk about it already, is it's about looking at each piece, yes, but we don't stay in the story. We don't want to stay in the story. So we look at it, we see it, we acknowledge it, but we have to process, we have to alchemize it, we have to do something with it. So we look at it and say, what's the pearl of wisdom that I have here in my hand? And can I accept that into my heart with gratitude and then let go of the story that's maybe looping on a tape, um, the identity that, it's attached to that is no longer a part of my life, because that happens at this time as well. We move out of identities and roles that we've played into other
Mhm.
things. But who am I underneath all of that, right? That's the biggest thing, I think, is who am I outside of all of the roles, the stories, the beliefs? And can we be willing and able, and it's a journey. It doesn't happen in one lunar cycle. It happens, you have to keep working with it, but you get lighter and lighter as you go, and you can see things as you practice. But can I be willing at the time of the dark moon? This is the time of the great mystery. Can I be willing to let go of absolutely everything that I think I know about absolutely everything and completely empty myself and be in no thingness? And so that's the practice. We work with all this material that we gather during the month, starting at the new moon, and then we release it. There's a 3-day dark moon ceremony that involves releasing things, going through this kind of process of kind of gathering the pieces and seeing what they want to be and what's ready to let go. We go into this emptiness on the day of the new moon, and then the day after we can really root ourselves into Mother Earth, and then we receive new seeds, and we have space. We've made space now, and we connect. And I would like to say, from going back to this metaphysical menopause idea, the metaphysical piece also comes into play when we do this dark moon practice on that third day, when we connect into the earth. And so the idea is we're connecting into those dragon lines, the ley lines in the earth, and those actually hold not only the blueprint for the new earth, but our creative blueprint. And when we bring and invite, and we actually do this in a guided journey, we bring this dragon energy up, spiraling up into our bodies through our legs and into our base chakra. And we're connecting back up the dragon and the serpent. And so that Kundalini energy, it's been cut off at the ground. And there's actually a chakra called the root chakra, which is about 3 meters underneath the earth in between our legs. And that's been cut off from the rest of us. And that's how we've been sort of disempowered as women. So this kind of mystery, the feminine mystery, is about reconnecting those things and then bringing all of that combined energy up through our body, up into our crown, fertilizing it, bringing it back down to nourish and birth those new creative seeds. So it's a
Wow.
whole multifaceted process.
It's powerful.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah. And it's something, I have a membership where we continue to work with it each month, but I also teach it, you know, as part of a process as we move through a lunar cycle. So yeah, and I've been working with it for, I'm going to say probably, no, 8 or 9 years now. So every month. Now, you know, it's not always possible. I have a funny story. I think it was Christmas. I went up to Northern Ontario to visit my in-laws. And, you know, people always ask me, well, what if I can't do it exactly the way it's laid out in the, you know, in the guidebook and all this? I'm like, well, you know what? I had to release things into the toilet and flush the toilet. It's the intention, right? Because I was in Northern Ontario in the snow. I'm not going out. I'm with my in-laws. They don't participate in this type of work, let's say. So I'm like, okay, this is what I can do. So I spoke it and I flushed it. So it's the intention
For
to,
sure. Yeah.
right, to release and to become light and each lunar cycle.
Yeah, and that is so empowering, right? That is something that we can do for ourselves on a monthly basis, on a regular basis, and it is not just about letting go of everything, because people love that word, everything. I let go of everything. It's like, oh my God, you can't just let go of everything. That's not how it works. But
Yes.
okay, right? Um, but it is about, recognizing that when you do let go, then you do create that space
Yes.
for new energies to birth that new creative potential within you, right? And to create that new life within you. Because a lot of times people say how they're stuck. They're stuck.
Mm.
They
Yes.
they don't know what to do, or they don't have clarity. I mean, sometimes I go through that too. It's like I
Sure.
have no clarity about this.
Yes.
But doesn't usually last. But a lot of times that stuckness that people are having is because they haven't let go of certain energies, frequencies, etc., that have been holding them back for so long, and haven't made space for the new energies to come in. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I think that is the ultimate enlightenment is when we, and I haven't reached it. I'm not going to say I have by any means, but I have felt an inkling. On some months I really feel, and it might only be for 10 minutes, but like, oh yeah, this is no thingness. I'm here. But then, you know, there's an external stimulus and you might come back. But I think over time, you know, and as frequencies shift, and I think it'll get easier and easier and easier for us to do that. And along the way, you
Absolutely.
know, what you were pointing to was one of the wise woman's gifts, and we haven't really talked about that, but one of the wise woman's gifts is intuition and discernment, right? There's a lot of noise, right?
Mhm.
A lot of external, um, I mean, it's pretty chaotic. We don't really
Yeah.
need to go through the list of all the things that are happening in the world that can really throw us off. There's no question. It's a lot, especially
Yeah.
if you're empathic and so on. Um, and I think we have to just kind of get to a place, and I had to go through a bit of another initiation a few years ago when all the things, you know, started happening, to say, okay, this over here is saying this over here is saying this. Everyone is kind of picking a side, but what if, what if there's a both and? What if there's some of this and some of this, And do you know the Vesica Pisces, the
Mhm.
two circles, right? These are the two opposites, and this bit in the middle is the conjunction of the opposites. I've always been fascinated with that concept. And then what can be made from that bit in the middle? So it's almost like I can take a walk over here. I can understand perspective. I can take a walk over here. I can understand perspective. But then I can synthesize, and I can, through my own intuition and discernment, I can decide what feels true for me, independent of, what any kind of labeled group of people or an external authority is telling me. So I think that's one of the most exciting things about doing this work right now in this time, is that ability to, we need to bring back nuance. Maybe that should be a slogan. Nuance, both and multiple perspectives. Things can be a little bit true in something that feels mostly untrue to you. You can find that nugget, and then from there, you can actually be with somebody that has an opposing view. We've lost that. It's the wise woman that can bring that back, I think.
Mm. That's powerful. So again, some of the gifts of the wise woman is the intuition,
Yes,
is the discernment. And
yes.
I find that with intuition and discernment comes or requires trust and faith in oneself,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes. And
right?
that comes from
So
knowing your whole self, the light and the dark, which is what we've been talking about.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Powerful. I love it. So one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, of the call, was that if you have a question for Keren about all the stuff that we're talking about, please do raise your hand or type your question in the chat. Now, there is a question in the chat from Maricela. So now I'm gonna wear my glasses for this one, just because it's
Yes.
easier.
Gonna have a
And
look.
she said that, does some of our transitions count if we choose to? I chose to leave a good traveling pay job because it was a very toxic environment, depending on the people we worked with or places, not always, but a lot. And it started affecting me emotionally and mentally, and affecting my relationship with my partner as we both work together in this company. Do some of our transitions count if we choose to? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our choice is so
Yes.
important, and so
Absolutely.
powerful,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I
right?
think,
So go ahead.
that sense of having freedom, to choose is so important, that we have so much more freedom than we've been told, or that we think, or that we feel we have to choose. And those transitions are important. Those are based on your discernment. Now, there is something that's really interesting. Sometimes we choose a descent. So a choice
Mhm.
that doesn't, right, like I was talking about Persephone, but on a soul level. So even though you might have an intuition said this is not going to be great, but there's a deeper thing that says, but you know what? On a soul level, I need to have this experience in order to grow. Um, that's kind of an interesting one too. I've made choices that really were not,
Yeah.
they were growth moments. They were descent moments, and I chose it. Um, and it's discernment, and it doesn't matter what, though, at the end of the day, every choice and everything that happens, there's always some kind of gift or learning. If you if you choose from your free will to figure out what that is, and move with it, and through it.
If nothing else, you receive wisdom and you get to know more about yourself.
Yeah.
Even that is the whole key of all the choices that we make and all the experiences that we have, is to know who we are, right?
Yes.
Um, I was gonna say something else. I forgot. Oh yeah. So we have to remind ourselves, or be reminded, that we are sovereign beings who do have the right to choose our experiences.
Yes.
So, choice is really, really important. And so, um, sometimes we don't feel like we have a choice, but there's always a choice. So, it doesn't always seem easy and it doesn't always seem straightforward, but and actually we're choosing all the time.
Yeah.
It's like by not choosing something, we're making a choice. So we're
Mhm.
always choosing, right? So it is important for us to really be in our heart space, be in our awareness, be discerning about the choices that we are making the best you can, right?
Yes.
It doesn't always work out, right? Sometimes we do choose the ascension for certain reasons, sometimes unknowingly and sometimes knowingly. But in the long run, it's all for your highest good, and it's all for your learning about yourself and growth for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Um, okay, so we talked about the lunar cycles, we talked about the goddess mythology, right? Was there anything more that you wanted to cover about the goddess mythology? I just want to make sure
There's
that
there's always there's always so much more, and it'll all come to me, I'm sure, when we're done, and oh shoot, I wanted to say such and such. It
yeah,
was something that popped in while you were talking, and it popped back out, so it might come back to me.
it might
But
come back. Absolutely.
yeah. Oh, I
Okay, no
know what I
worries.
wanted to say.
Go ahead.
I wanted just to mention, because you said something about, we get to begin again all the time with every new day and so on. And so I use this idea of the 3 R's, which I use in the dark moon, and this is about this. So this is about this cycle of dying to the old, being empty and in nothingness, and then being, birthed again in a sense, and starting over. So not only can we do that every day, I do a sort of a womb releasing practice in the evening, right as I'm drifting off to sleep, emptying so that I can then fill, in the next morning. But also you can do it with every breath. The exhale is the letting go, and then you can actually hold after the out breath. And that's the nothingness. And then you breathe in new seeds of inspiration. So we have cycles upon cycles.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that. You
Oh,
can,
I love that. That's a great reminder. Thank you for sharing that, because I know that for myself when um I've experienced that nothingness in that the space between the exhale and the inhale,
Mm,
and it is magical. It is truly magical. So it's like you
yes,
it's so expansive, you know.
yes.
So absolutely. So it doesn't, you don't need to do a ritual, you don't need to wait for a certain time of the month. It's with every breath. You can also do
Mhm.
it then as well. So I love that.
Yes,
Thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, so we are going to be doing a wise woman activation in a little bit. But before that, I just want to take a moment and talk about the packages. So give me a second to share my screen. A second here. And then we will go and either take some more questions or we will get it right into the activation. Hold on, let me see if I got this right. So hopefully you can see my screen. So there's 3 packages that Karen's offering, package A, B, and C, and all of them, there is a payment plan available. And of course, if you are an Inner Circle member, please do use your gift code. So the first package, there's the Moon Mysteries program, and then there's the 3 live group calls. So we talked a little bit about the Moon Mysteries, but do you want to go into a little bit more detail?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to travel together through actually longer than a lunar cycle. We're going to go through 2 dark moons together, but we're going to start soon. And then I'm going to we'll gather, we'll sort of set an intention and activate that. And I'll go through all of the practices, and then we're going to journey through this beautiful lunar cycle. And I'm going to teach you how to gather up the pieces and how to collect them. And then it all sort of culminates in these beautiful dark moon ceremonies, which I will teach you. And along the way, you'll learn kind of how to work with each different phase, because we're not meant, and this is another thing, we're not meant to be always going, 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 going. That whole thing about this linear kind of do, go 24/7. That's not, no. the wise woman knows how to move with the cycles. And part of that is knowing when to initiate new things, when to evaluate, when to let go, and when to begin again. And so I'll teach you how you can work with each of these cycles in the different areas of your life. And then we do this beautiful 3-day dark moon ceremony together. And I bring you through sort of, there's a guidebook that takes you through all of this. It's yours to keep. You have pre-recorded sessions, also yours in the course portal. And we're going to, which is a little bit further down the page, we're going to gather live so that we can do this work together. And there's audio, but we're going to do it. We're going to do the receiving meditation and different pieces of it together, which is always really, really powerful.
Awesome. So that's package
yeah.
A, right?
Yes. Yep. So you get that program, but then you also get the live calls with it. That's all part of package A.
Yeah. And so that's $97, and there's a payment plan available. And now package B is everything in package A plus a 55-minute private intuitive session with Keren. So what does that look like, Keren?
Yes. So this is where you bring, something that you're navigating, a transition, a stuck place, whatever it might be, something that you're moving through. And I will work with you intuitively. I am trained as a coach, but I do, I work very intuitively through deep listening. We often, I let spirit sort of guide how I ask powerful questions. This is not me telling you what to do. This is me facilitating and moving you through. And sometimes there's a process that I might engage you in, or a guided journey that we do, and I'm kind of in there with you. And then the answers come from you. And I think that's really important to say. It's a partnership when we work together privately. So you come with something and we will, move through it. And there may be something that I suggest for you to continue working through afterwards as well.
Awesome. So that's package B, that's $197. And then package C is everything in package A. And instead of one private session, you get 3 private sessions with Keren for $297.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And so that could be, I'm guessing it would be monthly, but depending on what the issue is and what feels like the right frequency for you, it might be a little bit different, but you would get 3 sessions. So we really have a chance to take a deeper dive. And you have kind of a goal at the outset, and we really work towards it. And I do a lot of work as well with women who are, one of the transitions that's shown up is a dissatisfaction in their soul path, like as it is expressed in work. So this would be one example of an opportunity where you have a little bit more time to work through something like that. You might, want to use it for that. But how does your soul want to be expressed now?
Yeah.
And
I
that
love
doesn't
that.
have
That's
to look like
powerful.
work at all. It could be in
Yeah.
your personal life, but just a bit of a deeper dive over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And how your soul expresses itself is, is again holistic and multidimensional, right? So it's not just work, it's not just home life, it's not just as
Yes.
a mother or sister or a relationship, right? It's everything sometimes, right? So it's all
Yes.
encompassing. um so that's package C, and there's some wonderful testimonials here from people who have worked with Keren in the past, so please check those out, and then you can read the rest of the bio as well for Keren. And again, here are the 3 packages, A, B, and C. Again, payment plans available for all 3. And of course, if you're an Inner Circle member, please do use your gift code. Okay. So awesome. Thank you, Keren.
Thank you.
All right. So now, let's see if somebody has a question. Again, like I said, you can raise your hand or you can type your question in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to do the WiseWoman Activation, which I'm really excited about. And so, Tanya, did you want to say something?
Yes.
Did you have a question?
Yes, please. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all. my question is, there are like all different, like they divide into 7 years, like in every life, every 7 years something happens, 9 years something happens. And then recently I heard about what you said today, that a soul has also like new entrance if we want to achieve something, like on our soul path. So which period of life is kind of more important? And if I missed this 47 years old, whatever it was, kind of my past journey period, so do I wait until I'm 60? I mean, or 60 it will be when I will be kind of doing well? Or I mean, how we kind of manage our expectations according to these life periods and stuff.
Yes. I mean, for me, I think, again, it comes back to what feels true for you. You know, as I was saying, discernment. There are so many systems and beliefs and ideas out there, and some of them are different from others, you know? And so it's really just, I think, about your own discernment about what feels right for you and which and not to get caught up in, well, every 7 years. So it's got to be this one, or else now I have to wait another 7 years. I would let those kinds of things go and just focus on, you know, I'm on a journey. The numbers don't matter. I'm on a journey, and what is in my heart to do in this lifetime? This is my discovery. What, you know, who am I at my core? Who am I, and what can I just let go of? And you know, so it's about awareness, discernment, and just let go of rules and steps. And you know, even though people, steps and rules are not rules, but steps are wonderful. They're guidelines, right? Take what works for you and let go of the rest.
Right.
And you know, it's about just recognizing the patterns, right? So I recognize the pattern. Something happened around 42. I know something happened now at 57. Absolutely, I'm in it right now. So, but it's not like when I was 42, between then and now, I was like waiting for the next thing to happen. You know, it's like, no, I'm living my life, right? So, you know, continue to live your life and do what's best for you.
You don't look 57, Alara.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't even know you were 57. God.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes,
so, you know,
but when you read these things and you think, oh boy, yes, I remember that every 9 years something significant happened, you know, but I also, as the same as you, remember something happened in 42, or now it's happening. I'm not 57, but I think it started at 53 actually, and now I'm 55. And it's already happening, like has been happening for last 2 years. But then, so I thought it works very well with 9-year cycle for me, because at 54, like, which is 9 years period finished, I got divorced, and I kind of now I'm starting new life. So it's sometimes it's just confusing. You start to remember, is it 7, is it 9, or now like
stay out of your head, Tanya. You're thinking way too much.
No, too much. Yes.
Right? You're thinking way too much, and it's like, I'm not going to think about, okay, something bad is going to happen in 9 years from now. There's going to be another big major shakeup. No, I don't care. You know, like, nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. You know, those are just general guidelines, just things to look back on, to be aware. Oh yeah, this happened. Oh yeah, that happened. Yeah, there was a you know, similar time frame, but at the same time, I'm living my life. I'm doing what, you know, lights me up. I'm doing what resonates with me. I'm doing what's coming up in the moment, right? I'm never thinking about, you know, 7 years ago this happened and 9 years ago this happened. Never. That never crosses my mind. I'm too busy living my life to be thinking about patterns like that. You know? Does that make sense?
Of course.
Follow your heart. Get out of your head.
I'm trying.
That's really important for you.
I have Gemini brain, you know?
Oh, I see. Okay. Got it.
Thank you.
That's
I
a great
was,
excuse.
yeah, I was going to say
Good.
astrology also, you know, there's so many factors. We are so multi-factored, right? We are so many, made up of so many different things. And at the end of the day, you know, these things are all interesting. Human design is super interesting.
Oh,
Numerology is
very
interesting. Astrology, all of it comes into play. And at the end of the day, let's just focus in here and see what's here now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you within you, your discernment, your awareness, that's more important than any system out there. But that's all great for information. But what's happening within is the key.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps. And yes, everybody is different, absolutely. And so we all have our own different cycles, and we all have our own different patterns, and we all have our own different way of looking at life, right? So, honor and trust what's right for you. But definitely for you, Tanya, stay out of your head. You got to drop down into your heart regularly. It's not important. You get distracted by these
I
concepts
get
and these
distracted.
things.
You're right.
I know. I get it. Shiny object syndrome is really powerful. But again, it's like, what is true for you? Go down to your heart and find out what's true for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. But yeah, great question. All right. So Karen, is there anything that we need to have an intention for or anything like that before we do this wise woman activation, or do we just receive?
Oh, yeah, I would just say, you know, to come at this as empty as you can, you know, no expectations and trusting. So whatever arises as we go through it, whatever pops in, let that be right. Trust it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't go in with any expectation, no agenda, just be in your heart space, be
Yes.
open to receiving and see what
Yes.
shows up.
And can I ask you how
Awesome.
much time we have, just so I
We're
can?
good. Well, I mean, like,
No,
how
it's
much
not.
time do you want?
I'm guessing it'll be like 10 to 15 minutes. Is that okay?
That's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
that's perfect.
All
I was
right.
gonna say not like half an hour, 45 minutes.
No, goodness, no. No. Okay, good. I just want to make
Awesome.
sure we weren't on a.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Nope, we're good.
Okay. All right. So I'll get started. So I invite you to get comfortable in your chair or wherever you are, and close your eyes if you haven't already. And let's just begin by focusing on the breath. So just notice the breath. Notice the way your body responds to the breath. There's a subtle movement in your rib cage, in your heart center. Can you feel it in the back of your heart as well? And then down in the belly, around the navel, maybe the solar plexus. And if you're a deep breather, maybe you feel that breath even in the sacral chakra area. It's a beautiful rise and fall. So we're going to take a few breaths now where we make the exhale longer. And as we do that, we come right out of our head. All of those thoughts, any expectation, you're just letting it all go. And you might imagine it even dripping down the body on those long exhales. Just letting it all go. And if you want to sigh, you can do that. For just a moment, put your attention down into your feet. Noticing how the soles of your feet connect. We're going to imagine the floor is the earth. Just notice, you may feel a tingling sensation. So I'm going to invite you now to come into your heart center and just notice it as a ball of light, maybe gold or another color. Maybe it's sparking little filaments of light out into the cells of your body. That's what I'm seeing right now. And breathe in and out through the heart. And with each breath, maybe now you want to just emphasize the in-breath a little bit as that golden ball of light sends those sparks of light out into every cell and particle of your body. And on the exhale, just let it go outwards, even beyond the physical body, into the different layers of your body and field. So you become cocooned in this beautiful bubble of light. And just sense up above you, we might call it a soul star, or you might want to reach even further up into the central sun and just invite wisdom and light to come down, inviting it through the crown, opening up the crown wide, and letting that light shower down through your central column of light where all of your energy centers are, and also around through your body, through the throat, through the heart. And so now we're going to go a little bit further and deeper down. I'm going to invite you to spend a moment again at your feet. So drop all the way down into your feet. Your body is still lit up in this golden orb. And now I'd like you to imagine sending roots, beautiful roots, down from the soles of your feet, down deep and wide into Mother Earth, going through all of the layers. And as you do this, you are connecting to the nourishment of the soil and connecting, just becoming aware of a root chakra, which is about 3 meters below your feet. And then imagine these roots connecting to the earth grid, which holds all of the potential for our beautiful new golden earth. There's a beautiful network of golden light, of dragon lines and ley lines, beautiful golden energies. And so I'm going to invite you to just invite those energies, which include energies from your unique creative blueprint, to just come up through your root underneath your feet, your root chakra. Invite this energy, and you might want to begin by taking a longer in-breath now and drawing this energy up through the soles of the feet, inviting this dragon energy to swirl and spiral up through your legs and into your base chakra. Continue to invite it up. You can even draw up the pelvic floor a little if you'd like. And then let this beautiful dragon energy go in beautiful circles and spirals around and through the womb space and the sacral chakra, whether or not you have a physical womb or an energetic one. Just allow this energy to move through the womb space. You may sense tingling, warmth, that you are directing the energy. So for now, we're going to leave this beautiful energy in the womb space, connected to your creative power. And imagine it lighting up in the same way your heart did. Beautiful golden light. And the light is so beautiful and so bright. You begin to realize it's actually a door or a portal. It's a gateway. And so allow yourself to step through this beautiful portal. You're still very rooted into Mother Earth, but you step through this portal and out onto the other side. And on the other side, just find yourself, let whatever arrives be right. A beautiful place in nature. Just take a moment to look around, noticing with all of your senses what's here. This is a beautiful, safe space for you. And as you look around, you notice something or someone coming towards you, and you immediately recognize that this is your inner wise woman. So this is an aspect of you, that all-knowing, beautiful part of you that can walk between worlds, and that really captures your beautiful soul essence. So allow this beautiful being to come towards you, knowing that this is a part of you. So you greet each other, and I'm just going to give you a moment to ask a simple question. What's important for me to know right now? And listen for the answer for just a moment. And this beautiful being may have a gift for you. So just hold out your hand, or it may be a word or phrase, but it may be a physical object, a treasure just meant for you to activate and ignite this part of you. So accept that now. And take this word or symbol or gift, physically bring it into your heart center. And if it feels right and you're ready to do this, bring this beautiful part of yourself, this wise woman, and integrate her. Watch her step fully into your being as well. Take a deep breath here. Feeling the activation, the light, bringing these gifts and powers fully on board, like a switch has been turned on, lighting up that beautiful column of light, vertical column of light in your body, even brighter, connecting you to the above and the below even more strongly. Take one more deep breath. Bringing this part back with you. These messages, new insights, new seeds. And in your own time, just start to become aware now of yourself in this physical space, back where you are in the room. with us all here together. Noticing your feet on the floor, noticing your breath again, noticing it in your physical form. And in your own time, when you're ready, come fully back and open your eyes.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. Do you feel a little bit wiser? Just, I have to say, just embodying or integrating that wise woman into my being, it's like my whole being was just like vibrating so fast. And it just gave me a sense of, I'm not even really sure. It's like stability, surety. I know surety is not a word, but you know what I mean? Reassurance, I guess. Um, and just peace, like so much like strength and peace. So that was powerful. Thank you. I still can't talk. Drink some water, everyone, as
Yes.
well. So how was it for all of you? I always ask that question, but I didn't ask because like it was just like still in it. You're so welcome, Marcella. Tanya says I felt very emotional. Just keep breathing. It's all good. How are you all doing? What gift did you receive, or what message did you receive?
Yeah, I'd love to
And
hear
I,
too.
because it's always interesting to see, right? And I think for myself, it was like trust and be patient. It's all good. And I received like a journal or a book, which was interesting. So it's like, okay, either I'm supposed to read something or I'm supposed to write something.
Yeah, and let it, just kind of process and integrate. Sometimes we don't understand at the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
but if you invite, tonight you may want to just imagine yourself emptying again and just ask to connect with her as you fall
Hmm.
asleep. And then you may
Yeah.
be shown something in your dream time. Or journaling
Chris
is
says,
wonderful. So to deepen into the process.
absolutely. Chris says, I fell asleep. That's okay. You can do this process again. Absolutely. Um, unconditional love, Tanya felt. Pippa says, I felt I have been waiting for her.
Oh,
Thank you. Oh,
I
nice.
love that. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's beautiful. So it's kind of like an homecoming, even, right?
Mm.
Oh, a lot of yawning. Yes, thank you, Maricela, for that. I was yawning a lot too.
Mm.
A lot of yawning, watery eyes, peace. Unsure if it was my mind or all the answers are within you. Definitely, all the answers are within you.
Yeah,
And the word was wisdom. Yeah, good. It's
beautiful.
true. Awesome. And it's a reminder for you, right? That all the answers are within you. Beautiful. I'm so glad you experienced that. And of course, for all of us who are watching now or watching later, of course, you can go back and do this process again,
Yes.
right? And experience it again, and just be receive more of the essence and energies and frequencies of your wise woman, right? Because sometimes,
Absolutely.
like the first time, it's like you're not really sure or something. You just might be in your head a little bit. The next time you do it, you'll be just much more present and be able to receive more. So I love that. Thank you.
Yes.
Cindy says, thank you. That was beautiful. I received to be true to my soul, my authentic self. Ah, yes, absolutely. Good, Cindy. Yeah, that's a great message.
Yeah. Yeah. And a message can
Awesome.
be really short, but super powerful.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It doesn't have to be like a long story, right? It's
Yeah.
usually, for myself, it's what you need to know.
Mm.
And it's not usually not long at all. It's really quite to the point.
Yes.
So beautiful. Thank you. All right. So Karen, any last words of wisdom for us? We're talking about wisdom. So any last words
Yeah.
of wisdom for us all?
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I'm feeling just to say is that, this is a journey, and these can be the best and most powerful years of our lives, and getting to know that beautiful wise woman. Again, it's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight, but just learning to lighten ourselves from, all of that other stuff that gets in the way of us listening and being with her and being her, embodied as her. That's the key. And we literally, I don't feel we can move into the new earth with all the stuff. We're being asked to heal, to become whole, to see all the parts of ourselves, to reconcile all of this so that we can step in to the new earth. So this work is so important. However you choose to do it, whether you choose to do it through package A, B, and C, or some other totally different way. Just, find your way, find the way that resonates with your body, your heart, your soul. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. This was beautiful. This was so powerful. And again, so necessary right now because of all the transitions that we are all experiencing and going through, right? It's a very transformational time. And it really is about recognizing the gifts that we are being that our wise woman is sharing with us on a regular basis if we're willing to even receive that, right? It's not just about in a process, but it is in our day-to-day life. Can you see that gift of intuition, that gift of discernment, right? That gift of empowerment and sovereignty, right? That we all have access to, and choice, right?
Yeah.
That we all have. Those are all gifts that we have, believe it or not. So
Absolutely.
yeah, beautiful, powerful call. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody,
Thank
for
you
all
so
your
much.
questions and comments and feedback and being here with us today, and welcoming Keren with your open hearts. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
And
thank
thank
you
you,
so
Keren. This
much.
was great. Like I said, this is the first time I think we've ever talked about this. So really important and really, necessary. And recognizing the patterns does not mean we're going to create new patterns or that we want to, just recognizing who we are at all, at all times. So thank you.
Thank you so much
Um,
for having me on, and it's been lovely to meet and work with everyone.
Beautiful. Thank you. So folks, the recording will be out shortly. So the replay will be out shortly. Stay tuned for those. And wow, just be gentle with yourself. Okay, be gentle, and go back and watch or listen to this again so that you can receive even more wisdom, even more gifts of the wise woman, and just all the wonderful wisdom during the call. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. Until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all so much love and blessings.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.